Where did you find this antique-ass fossil of a game? Don't hate me 'cause I'm awesome! That was lag! That was lag! This game's bullshit!
I like shooters. I like retro games. This is like a retro game with a story.
Yeah.
It's like Gone Home meets Wolfenstein. This is crazy. And it was not the game. I think I just read an email about the game and then walked over to your desk and saw you playing it and didn't even sink in that was the game that you were playing. Yeah, tell our friends at GT about Bedlam.
The game is Bedlam, and it is awesome. It is a tribute to all things 90s first-person shooters. It starts out really weird and cryptic. You're in this white room and this voice is saying like, don't move or else you'll die. And all of a sudden you wake up in a 90s video game and you play as a female, an Irish female. She has a really thick Irish accent and she realizes that she is part of the game. And there's just all these really cool nods to 90s games. She's like, oh man, this is like some weird Oculus Rift shooter. And then she was like, oh, you know, my brother's old Voodoo graphics card could never run this. So there's just all these really cool nods and tributes to.
Well, it's like kind of a clever, you know, it's like you don't get the vibe that the game looks the way it does because that's like exactly what the developers wanted to go for. Maybe like they're a small company, so maybe this is all they could really like hope to achieve as a game that looks like this.
Yeah.
Or it would, you know, obviously cuts the cost of designing a game if you can kind of, you know, limit it to graphics that look like you're in a 90s shooter. Does it strike you as kind of a clever idea to come up with this premise?
Yeah.
That if you were just playing the game on its own, you wouldn't necessarily appreciate it, but because it has the trappings of the story of you being built in, the perspective of this character, it adds a lot more to it.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of variety, which is kind of surprising. Like you go through the first couple stages and you do capture the point style, like you have to capture the relays, and then one of the stages is basically Unreal Tournament. You get teleported into this zone. There's really low gravity, and it's first to 15 kills, and it gets really meta with it. You're in the game, and all the other people you're playing against are supposed to be real people on the outside, and there's voice chat. So you hear them trolling, they call you a hacker, they say, oh, this game is really old, I'm gonna go play COD, they call out Call of Duty, and just like, oh, you're a girl, why don't you go play The Sims? It gets really intense. And just all these trolls, and you can tell there's like 5-year-old kids just like crying. And then after all that, you end up going to a World War II zone, which is as far as I got. I played like 3 or 4 hours, so it seems like a pretty long game. There's one big alien zone that took a couple hours, and then you go to the World War II zone, and then all the weapons change, and then you're fighting Nazis. So the variety is pretty deep.
And unexpected, there's not a lot of games like that, you know, I mean, like, obviously, and if you're creating a first-person shooter, you want your environments to be varied, but changing genres like that, I can't really think of another game that's done that and kind of like self-referential. How long do you think the whole game is? And is this out? Is this something
it's
where
early
can people
access
pick it
right
up?
now.
Oh, okay.
So you can get it on Steam and start playing, and it plays really well. Some of the guns don't have a lot of feel to it, like the laser blasters.
How's the shotgun, first and foremost?
Shotgun's okay. Shotgun's okay. It's like this double barrel, alternate fire. Right click fires both barrels, which is really cool. There's a crossbow, which is very reminiscent of Painkiller. I immediately thought of Painkiller.
But do you get different weapons when you go to each area?
Yeah, so then in World War II, then you get a Luger pistol and like an MP40 and a sniper rifle and a different shotgun. So and then grenade potato mashers. So it's just a really fun game.
What else have these guys made? Is this the first project from this team, or?
Yeah, I didn't look into who or like what they have done previously, but it definitely seems like a smaller project.
It feels like a passion project,
Yeah,
you know, and so I wonder if this is kind of an accumulation of work that they've done prior, or this was kind of like their entry going into it. Yeah, just as far as the feel, I mean, you've played a lot of shooters this year. I mean, just as far as the feel of just on PC, you know, compared to other first-person shooters, it's a fun idea, it's a fun concept, and it's fun to switch between these different time periods. But is it actually fun to play? Like, is the AI okay at all? Is the environments well built, or?
AI is a little rough. I mean, she even comments on this. She's like, "Oh, this is so 90s. The Marine fodder enemies, because they kind of just like come at you." But the capture the point scenario was pretty difficult because you have to manage 3 points and you have to capture all of them at once. So if you leave to go get one, then they come and get them. So that part was pretty difficult. And then there's bosses, which I died like twice on. So the AI isn't that great, but I think it serves its purpose.
What are they still working on? Can you tell that from the game, kind of where more work needs to get done, or have they communicated that at all to their audience?
I don't know about that, but I feel like they definitely could just get the AI a little better and just maybe, there's a little pop in here and there. I was playing the World War II level, and when you go inside a building and look outside, it was just gray. So, I mean, and then you'd go a little forward and it would pop in, pop out. And then sometimes, enemies will just be spinning in circles. But,
right.
For early access, it's definitely playable and it plays well.
So something you don't regret spending time in, even though it was early access?
No, I want to go deeper. I want to finish this thing.
Are you going to finish it before the game comes out, or do you think you're at a good stopping point to maybe take a break before like the final version comes out?
Yeah, that's always the tricky thing with early access, because I have the Forest and it's early access, but it's like I don't want to put so much time into early access and get burnt out by the time the final polished version is there. But I don't know. I'm like weirdly hooked on this game. The first thing I did when I got in was just started bunny hopping everywhere. It's like Counter-Strike. It's like bunny hopping around.
And like kind of what I was mentioning before, like are there not a lot of paranautical activity, which is actually getting some bad press lately, but kind of seems similar to this old school, very bouncy, very like just keep moving, keep twitching and blasting stuff. Yeah. Is this a popular genre right now? I mean, I love first-person shooters, but I don't play a lot of them on PC, which is terrible. I know I just like got 15 comments about like discredited, you suck. But are there games like this? I mean, not obviously the plot seems extremely unique, but
there's definitely
the style.
Retro first-person games. There's definitely a market for those, but the way this is being told and the references it's making is extremely unique. Like calling out old Voodoo cards and Oculus was just really awesome.
And you appreciate that, like that worked on you, so that was a good idea, from their standpoint to have that.
Because I remember as a kid, I always wanted the Voodoo card. I could never get it; it's so expensive.
So like that really cut deep. Yeah. And not only that, but the voiceover and the implementation of voiceover, does it feel canned, or does it feel kind of like what the experience that like what you're doing is triggering them to say these things?
I mean, when the kids come in and you're in the death match and they're trolling, it's a little jarring, it's a little weird, but it's playful. Them just saying like, "Oh, you're such a hacker." It's because like people do that in first-person shooters. You play any online game and they're gonna call you a hacker. They're gonna say this game sucks or that was lag. They say, "Oh, that was lag. That was lag." So they're riffing on common elements of first-person competitive games, which I really appreciate.
So like a little bit of Tron in there. Kind of feels like Tron-esque, although she's not really sure how she got put in the situation. I mean, something you want to beat just to find out what's going on. Just what's happening with her
because
character.
then you come along, some other NPCs that are also trapped, and they don't know what's going on. They're like, "We're in here. Like, I can't get out. I don't know what to do." The guy explodes. So there's this mystery that's kind of propelling you forward. And just the mystery of wanting to see the other environments.
Right.
Getting to World War II was a big deal, and then there are all these new weapons and enemies. I just want to see what.
And you're not sure if the whole game's up yet, because that would be the tease for me. Would be to check that stuff out. And you haven't seen the whole thing yet.
I haven't seen past World War II.
All right. Well, don't see too much, because when the game comes out, I want you to review it and do another Just Play It. So,
sure.
But that's enough for now.
Cool.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.